In today's video, I am talking with a member of my Marketing Clarity community. Now, if you don't know what the Marketing Clarity community is, well, it's a totally free online space where I work with solopreneurs and small business marketers to help them safely navigate the complex and confusing world of digital marketing. I'd love to have you join us, clarity.tricycle-creative.com, link below and in the description. So today I'm talking with Mark Crowell of Wicky Design, and he, along with his wife Barbara, they create WordPress websites for small business, big business, medium business. They just create beautiful, functional, totally useful WordPress websites. Now in this conversation, we're going to talk about a lot of different things. We're going to talk about his transition from the corporate job to entrepreneur, one that I can totally relate with. We're going to talk about the most common questions he gets from solopreneurs and small business marketers who come to him and need a website for their own business. And we're also going to go through his Working with Wicky Design document. This is something they sent me right after our first kind of chat, and it made me not only fall in love with what they do, but how they do it. Now, of course, if you enjoy any part of this video, I'd appreciate it, if you do that whole like, comment, sub thing. Let's go. Hey, Mark. Thank you so much for taking the time today to chat with me, and then I guess by extension, the viewers out there.
Yep. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We were just talking at the time of recording. I'm in like a tornado watch, and somehow my house is being painted also. So it's like wackiness over here, but
Yeah.
that's like the life of working from home, right?
Yeah, there's always kind of distractions. They were just ripping up the sidewalk this past week, literally right in front of my house. So yeah, I didn't take any calls last week, really. I was like, I can't take any calls. They had a big like bulldozer, like they ripped it up. It was fun to watch, actually. So I took a few minutes and watched how they rip up sidewalks here.
See, learning. When you work from home, you learn. And I have the double whammy between the possible tornado, the house painting. My dog hates all of those things. So it's like, it's just a bananas day. So I'm really excited for this conversation to maybe normalize my day a little bit. So let's start, and I think of always a very logical place. Talk about Wicky Design, what you guys do, how you started, fire away.
Sure. So yeah, Wicky Design started full-time back in about 2014. So at the time, we were in the transition of, we were living in Tampa, Florida at the time, and I wanted to move up to the Philadelphia area because that's where I met my wife now, which is Barbara. She's the other co-owner of Wicky Design. She was originally from this area, so I took literally one trip up here and decided I wanted to make that move. So kind of fast forward, we went 2014, we moved up here, and she was working kind of part-time doing web design, and I was still working full-time at a corporation doing website design and actually 3D animation. So she just wanted to go all in on it because we were able to afford it where she could do it part-time, and I couldn't quite yet. So she went all in 2014, and then it took me about 4 more years, so around 2018, I was able to quit my full-time corporate job to run the business with her. So we've officially both been full-time at Wicky Design since 2018.
So you came from a corporate setting role and jumped into the entrepreneurial space.
Yeah. It was a little scary. I'm not going to lie. It was the scariest thing.
I'm right there with you, man. I had the same thing. I get it.
Yeah, because you're so used to that, like, steady paycheck or, the consistency of always getting paid. So that's why it took me a little bit to kind of get used to it. We saved up enough money where we knew that, hey, we had, a year's worth of savings. So even if it failed, I could always go back to another job. That's the thing. There's always if you're in the corporate environment, you're not quite sure, you can always just take the risk. And then if it doesn't work, you can always go back to work and then figure it out, like kind of reassess it later.
Yeah, I think with proper planning,
Hmm.
most failure is temporary. I
Hmm.
mean, honestly, like we did the same thing. I came from, I would say, majority corporate roles for
Hmm.
sure. Right when I jumped into creating Tricycle Creative, I was running a nonprofit part time at that time. But prior to that, 10, 15 plus years of
Hmm.
corporate, you know, environment life. And yeah, I mean, I always kind of had the itch.
Hmm.
And I think that was always a scary thing of jumping right in is not having, or at least I needed to set up a like safety net,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know. And so that's what I did. I put it, you know, like we took out and put aside in its own separate account.
Hmm.
You know, like just don't touch this. This is an emergency fund, rainy day fund. If I get no clients, if the business goes under, if I need to supplement, we have this fund. It's
Hmm.
here and ready. And I'm happy to say to this date, haven't had to touch that yet. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
But I think if
Hmm.
you do those things in preparation, not in preparation expecting that you will
Yeah,
fail,
yeah,
but I
exactly.
think just being prepared because this is a whole different ballgame.
Oh yeah, yeah. And when you come from the corporate environment, like I said, you're so used to every 2 weeks, that Friday you get paid where, you run your own business. There might be times where you don't get a paycheck that whole month, but then the next month you get enough to cover both months. So,
Feast or
um,
famine.
yeah,
It's,
that's
you
why
know,
when I was doing it, when I was working full time, I was still helping out like part time. So the weekends, after hours. So I kind of already was getting comfortable with it. And then you're kind of know if there's that point where it's like, all right, I'm starting to waste too much time at the full time corporate job. I could just quit that. That's how when I'm sitting on, I kind of analyzed how many hours I wasted on like
yeah.
conference calls. I was like, oh, I wasted, I'm not joking, 30 to 40 hours a month on conference calls. So I was like, I
Dude,
could have just made two websites in that,
dude, I gotta tell you, it's the one thing
Hmm.
I do not miss about the corporate structure and the thing that drove me, the narrative, if you will, that drove me and continues to drive me crazy about work from home is
Hmm.
just this corporate necessity because they don't know anything different
Yeah.
just to meetings. I'm
Hmm.
the same way. If I look back at my time, I am sure that there were days 50%
Hmm.
to some of my roles more than that were just totally wasted. Like
Hmm.
I famously was in a role where the head of the company, we had a standing meeting every week and this person insisted it's be at like 8 a.m. But they
Hmm.
never were in work at 8 a.m. They didn't even get in until 9, but they
Wow.
never would change it. Like so it's like we had to be in there early, sitting around for an hour. It
Yeah.
was just like a total waste of
Oh yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And that's what drives me crazy about work from home, where
Hmm.
when a more corporate or whatever environment is so quick to trash work from
Oh
home
yeah.
and like, oh, people aren't productive. I'm like, have you done a
Yeah.
proper audit of
Exactly.
like
I'm
productivity?
Yeah, I'm so much more productive at home because, yeah, I would have people that would walk around the office and they would chit chat with me. I would get up and take a break. I mean, you're only getting a few hours of like real work out of someone in a lot of
It's
cases
true.
because
Now,
between meetings and
don't get me
yeah,
wrong, I miss some of those. When I was
oh yeah,
working in New York, we'd pop
hmm,
down to the subway, to the
oh yeah,
Dunkin' below our office, walk
yeah,
around, shoot the shit.
yeah,
Listen, I love that. And I
yeah,
lie, and I'm not gonna lie, I miss a little bit of it. I miss camaraderie. But when
yeah,
it comes
oh
to
yeah,
productivity,
hmm,
they ain't necessarily the same.
yeah,
So
exactly.
back to Wiki Design. Let's
Mhm.
talk specifically. What is it? What's the service or services that you
Mhm.
guys offer?
So yeah, our main services, we just do branding and web design these days. We used to offer other services like SEO and social media management, but now we've just gotten back to our core services, which is just the branding, custom web design, and then we can also do like e-commerce websites, membership websites. So we wanted to really just this past year or two, we kind of refocus just back on those core services because we started
You
to
know,
see that we were starting to offer too many things. And during the pandemic in the beginning, we actually were doing pretty good, and we were offering like website maintenance for websites that we didn't build. We tried all these different things, and it worked, and we did help out a lot of small businesses doing that. But then we started to notice that, hey, we need to kind of just go back to what we were doing. Because on top of that, if you have seen, we have a lot of YouTube videos. So we are
yeah, you
focusing.
guys slay
Yeah,
on YouTube.
yeah, we're
You
almost
really do. I
doing. Yeah,
love what you do on YouTube. I
thanks. Yeah,
really do.
we learned a lot these past couple of years. So we went all in on it early last year. So last January, what is it, 2021? I'm losing track of what year and month it is. I had to look down and be like, are we in
I'm
2022?
about to have my first child, so
Oh
I'm
yeah,
also going to fall into that, like it's all going to become blurry as
one
hell.
big
I'm not
month.
going to know the day, the
Yeah,
time. So
yeah.
I get it. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So yeah, we went heavy. We were doing 2 or 3 videos a week for about a year, and then we kind of scaled back. But yeah, we wanted to really kind of focus on that. And the great thing about making YouTube videos is once you get to a certain point, you can of course start to make a little bit of money off of ads. And then we push just a few affiliates. We only
Hmm.
work with so many different companies or software, so
Sure.
we push those affiliates. So it's like a little bit of it's almost like a part-time income just on the side.
Yeah,
It's
no,
kind of
you
like
get a passive income stream. And I
yeah.
think for anyone out there, particularly if you are, that solopreneur, offer creative services, YouTube can be a very viable thing. But let
Mhm.
me stress this, and I think you'll agree. You have to come in creating valuable, helpful, insightful,
Mhm.
entertaining, even content
Yeah.
first. That has to be your first priority. Monetization comes if you do that first step
Yeah.
right. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. In our situation, we don't do like any entertainment. We're strictly like kind of just boring tutorials, but it works. So there's an audience for that on YouTube. There's definitely
Oh,
just
yeah.
tutorials. Yeah, and the big reason why I like to do videos, I'm huge into organic ranking. I love that I can post a video on YouTube and have it rank way before my website will get indexed. So I can
Yes.
once you become an authority with a certain topic, I'm not joking, you can post a video and it gets crawled and indexed in organic search like pretty much instantly. So if
Yes.
it's not very competitive, like just low hanging fruit all the time for what we do. So um,
And
and
that's where YouTube is really big in
mhm,
discoverability. If
yeah,
you have a niche or expertise, right,
hmm,
and you have insights there, really strong,
yeah,
as far as discoverability. And if you're making how-to content, if that is
yeah,
relevant to your service or your expertise, that's like the number one
yeah,
YouTube stuff. I mean,
oh yeah,
behind gaming, maybe,
hmm,
right,
yeah,
is how to.
yeah,
And so I mean, and you could, there's a Venn diagram of those two things, how to
hmm,
gaming, which is
yeah,
usually where I
exactly.
spend a lot of my time, to be fair. Like I'm
Hmm,
always like, I'll be
yeah,
streaming something while I'm
oh
working, that
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing. So yeah, so now with your website service, do you
Hmm.
work specifically or exclusively in like a WordPress? Is that
Yeah.
how you guys work?
Yeah, yeah, we figured out over the years it's best to just specialize in one thing. So yeah, we're 100% WordPress, and we use the Elementor page builder. So
Which I
if you're not
love. I've
familiar with
used.
that,
We've talked about
yeah,
it. I think it's great.
yeah, it's our favorite page builder. We've been using it since like 2017, and yeah, we haven't really looked back. We are looking at we always kind of having a roadmap for what we might want to build in the future. So there's a few things in the pipeline that we're always kind of looking at. But yeah, we've been using Elementor for a while. It's perfect for us. So when we create our websites, not only do you just get a website, you also get like custom training videos on how to
Yeah,
update your own website. So
which I love. I love. I
yeah,
mean, I told you. I mean, we met because I have here and there offered web dev, web design services. And getting back to your earlier point, like listen, like you offer a lot of things. I don't love doing websites, and I
Mhm.
really wanted to find a partner, a collaborator that when people come to me and they say, I need or want a website, I can hand it off, right? To
Yeah.
someone who I have trust in, who is equipped to handle these types of clients, and who does this stuff every day, which
Yeah.
is why obviously we're talking today, but why we first
Mhm.
met.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that in a lot of those cases, when people come to me, and I'm curious to get your input
Mhm.
on this. Um, there are a lot of common mistakes that I've seen.
Mhm.
Solopreneurs, small business owners, small business marketers, when they're coming to me saying, I need a new website, want a new website, there's a lot of like common issues.
Yeah.
What are some of the common issues that you hear or you deal with on like a regular basis?
Yeah, that would definitely be a lot of times when people come to us. In most cases, they've been burned by a past company. So they have found somebody who can do a
Me too.
website really cheap. And a lot of times it's just you figure out, or sometimes you don't figure out that your website has been outsourced. It could be overseas. And no, it's really hard to make updates on the back end. There's no
Or you
training
don't know
videos.
how. To your
Yeah,
point, you like
exactly.
I literally worked with a client in the past year,
Mhm.
didn't even know how to get access to their website.
Yeah, that's not good.
And
Yeah.
no, no.
Yeah.
And then but it happens more
Oh, yeah.
often than you would think where people
Yeah.
hire someone else, they build the website, they don't think
Yeah.
to ask to get
Exactly.
access. They're then
Yeah.
like shackled to this
Hmm.
person.
Oh, yeah. We've been in a few situations where it doesn't happen often, but it can, where a past developer or company can hold your domain name hostage
Yes,
for
that's
ransom.
what I
Like,
dealt
this
with.
isn't uncommon. Like, it can happen. Yeah. Hosting is another one where, okay, you have your domain name, but where are your files? Where's the
Yeah.
host? Some guy does he have a server in his basement and you got to pay him money to get access to your files? Like, yeah,
joesbasementserver.com.
it's
They're
right there.
reliable,
Yeah.
right?
I've seen that guy a few times. Yeah.
That's who I
But
host with. Are you telling me that's a problem? Now I'm a little
yeah.
concerned.
So yeah, that's definitely something that does happen pretty often when people do come to us is they've been burned, or it's not as common, but sometimes people come to us completely brand new, don't have any idea what it even means to have a website. They of course you can be sold, a website like from Wix or Squarespace. They have really good marketing where they're like, hey, in 5 minutes you can get a website up and running. That's great and all, but your website's not going to look like the ones you saw on television if you
No,
don't know
because
how to
those weren't built in
design.
5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there's a lot of really good marketing that says, hey, making websites are easy, and that's not the case. Like
Yeah.
in a lot of cases, if you want a professional website, you're going to have to make, a small investment because that's what it is. It's an investment,
Yes.
not, yeah, it's not just a monthly fee that you pay Wix or something. Like it's an investment for your
When
business.
you are starting your business, there are expenses that I think it is much more helpful mindset wise for you to look
Mhm.
at them as an investment. Your
Yes.
website
Hmm.
is maybe number one. I know
Hmm.
everyone wants to think, or for a while there, for a couple years there, with the proliferation of social, like, oh, I don't need a website anymore. You do.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Don't believe that.
Yep.
That's not true.
Yeah.
A website has so many incredibly
Hmm.
valuable aspects to it for your business,
Oh
from
yeah.
legitimacy to
Hmm.
SEO to sales
Oh yeah.
to content, to a place
Yeah.
for long form, short form, all content. It's it's your home base.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can give you
And
a quick situation where, so we just recently purchased this house and we needed to get, some work done, some plumbing work. I'm not joking. I called and went to at least 6, 7 different websites. I called up these people. They don't even answer the phone. So this is a good thing to know is Google has a thing called Google Guarantee where these companies are paying top dollar to get ranked inside Google. And so I called up one of those guys, or I actually went to their website, very professional website. And guess what happened? That person who had the professional website, they showed up on time. They answered my phone call. They actually invested time into their business rather than just getting, a quickie website up. And yeah, so I won't even hire contractors or anything these days unless they have a real online presence.
Yeah, and I think, I have another story years ago. I had someone in the service industry, just like what you're talking about, like a home repair. He was a contractor. Won't go into what exactly it was, but nonetheless, one of the first things he wanted me to do, and this relates to website access. Hey, Ross, could you change the phone number on my website? It's wrong.
That's a problem.
Okay. How long's it been wrong? Years.
Oh, jeez. That's insane. That should be one of your number one call to action.
Kidding me? And it was baffling on two accounts. One, I will say, just somewhat of the laissez-faire about it. But two, again, getting back to, that is a simple thing. That even if you're not, I'm not a web guy or web person, you should be able to get into your site to delete, add new phone number.
Yeah.
Right? At the very least.
Yeah.
I think it's just like a minimum threshold for it. And I think the other piece, and you mentioned this a little bit, and I know you provide on your YouTube channel some really good insight from a technical SEO standpoint, but I think you'd mentioned confusion about SEO when people come to you. Is that something that you, as a web person, you get thinking those things are like, they're definitely just connected? And since you do web, you do SEO.
Oh yeah, for sure. I just had a call with a client a couple of days ago, and he, we're going to build his website. And then on that same call, he was concerned, hey, how can I outrank my competitors and all of this? I'm like, all right. First, we need to build the website first. You can't outrank someone unless you actually have something to outrank. So a lot of times,
Cart before the horse. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, they think that it's just the same thing. It really is a totally different beast. Like you gotta have.
They have there's connective tissue. But so as an SEO guy who also deals with people who come to me who have no SEO experience, there's connective tissue between the technical SEO and what has now become what could be called semantic SEO, right? And there's a big shift, has been a big shift for the last 2 years, that SEO is driven a lot more by content, on-site content, than by technical. Not that technical is not a factor. It still is. Yeah. But that the way that Google's artificial intelligence, algorithm, indexing spiders, its whole mechanism, it understands language better, understands relationships better, but relationship between language, understands conversation better. And so with all of those things evolving, the move has been a great deal in SEO towards the importance of improved on-site content. But these two things go together, just like you said. Well, listen, we need to get you a site that A is functional, B you can access, B it looks good, professional, and I say functional double because it's functional.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the website is basically, the way I look at it, the website is like the foundation of everything that you are running. So then your content strategy, your SEO. So yeah, it needs to be looked at as kind of like they are together, but it's also like you got to get the website functioning, everything working correctly. It's the foundation. Then you just build off of that, which like in our situation, our website, we produce tons of content, but I don't ever really go into our website and like, change code to try to make it look better for Google. Like once you get it down, you just kind of create the content and go run from there. Yeah.
Because it doesn't work anymore also. Like these, if you're out there watching this, because you need a website, want a new website, and then now you're like, well, I think SEO is sounding interesting too. Don't walk away from people who are just about hiding keywords in the code.
Oh, God. Yeah.
It does not work. And if you're out there and you're not sure if you're ready to make the investment on SEO or you really want to learn more to figure it out, I offer a 6-week SEO bootcamp. So I call it the SEO 101 Bootcamp. You can sign up for it. It's 6 weeks. We work together. We have a meeting a week. I explain SEO completely. And just like everything else I do, I give you the training wheels for you to be more informed to either do it yourself or know enough that you can hire someone to assist you. And if that's us, that's great. If it's not us, that's okay too. So I just want to put that out there too, because I deal with the same thing. I do a lot of people who come to me, they don't know, they only know SEO. It's been thrown around. I've heard this phrase.
The thing I like about SEO is you can ask 10 people what SEO is. You're going to get 10 totally different answers. Like that's not a good thing for the industry. The industry is very
It's very true. And that's what when I do this, I really start with the essential basics and, because to be fair, Google, there's a lot of gray area. By their own admittance. They'll tell you some things. And then they won't tell you some things. And then they won't even maybe know some things. But they don't want to play their hand. So it keeps you on your toes for sure. Now
it's nonstop education and learning with SEO. It's just
and web.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
really?
why we were offering some SEO stuff a while ago, but I'm like, that was turning into a full-time thing. So I was like, I gotta choose one or the other, basically.
100%. So I want to now jump in. When I reached out to you to start, you did something which I've told you since, but just made me totally fall in love with you. I already once I received this email, I was kind of already like, these are the guys. I love what they do. I'm looking for WordPress people. You did something so seemingly simple, maybe deceivingly simple, but it really sold me on you guys. And that was, you sent me over this kind of working with us guide. And I wanted to take a second, more than a second, several seconds, to go over this with you because two reasons. If you're out there watching this and you are a small business owner, solopreneur, and you want a great stable, beautiful, functional WordPress site, you should see this document. I think it really helps to outline what the process, the type of thing that comes with it. I did this also with my graphic and logo designer, Adrian. So if you haven't checked out that video, I'll put it up here at the top. He broke down his logo design process. I love process. I love process. So when you
see other people do it, I like that. Yeah.
Oh my God. And I think to what we were talking about, the mystification. I don't know how websites are made. I don't know how logos are made. Yeah. It's not to at all downplay the creative craft. It's to make it understandable, because when people don't see how stuff is made, I think a lot of times they just assume it's easy.
Yeah, exactly.
And so let's jump into this document, because I also think it's good to share, if you're out there and you all own a creative business or something, this is absolutely something you should do. And there's a phrase that I got from another client. It's like, borrow with love. I'm not saying you steal this from them, but the idea, I think, is something that you should think about for your business.
Yeah. And you can use it for all different types of businesses too.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I think any business, it's valuable to have this type of thing. So I reached out to you and you replied with an email, but you also said, hey, also check out this attached document. And it got me a little feel for you and your wife, Barbara. I understood, okay, great. This is a 2-person shop, that kind of thing. You preface it here, read through this thing. And I love this, to make sure the processes work for you. When you work with someone, at least this is how I look at it, I mean, it's a collaboration, particularly with a website.
Oh, yeah.
It's not.
That's why this document it's not just saying, oh, we're great, we do this. This is the process that's going to help you. This is what you can expect. This is more like setting the expectations up front.
Yes. And I think that's really important. Expectation setting is really,
Mm-hmm.
really important. Again, particularly with website, particularly with digital. I loved this page too. This is when we're work. This is
Mm-hmm.
when we're available. You know, I think it's good to set boundaries. My therapist says it's good for me to set boundaries. So I'm applying it to
Mm-hmm.
business too,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Here are
We,
hours.
yeah, this is like one of the main reasons. Like this was one of the
I,
first things we wanted on the document. Like this is when you can contact us. Like
yeah.
please.
Oh, it's an emergency.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
everything is an emergency. And a
Yep.
lot of like, I've been working, having my own business now for, I think, going on 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's probably the nature of the services I offer. But I'm really yet to experience oh, this is truly a house on fire. We need to talk
Yeah,
immediately.
exactly. Yeah,
Getting all the way back
I
in the
know.
corporate world, every
Mm-hmm.
fucking thing is
Oh
a
yeah,
fire. You
everything's an
know?
emergency.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. Yeah.
especially when it's the end of the quarter or something, and then you need to make
Oh,
up budget.
it's like compounding fire. It's like
Yeah,
this guy's house
exactly.
is on fire and he lives in a condo and he's setting all the other people's houses on fire. It's like, oh my
Yeah.
God, just, oh geez.
Oh
So
yeah.
I think this also helps because you set the stage. Hey, we're going to use a project management tool. The best way to communicate with us is email,
Yeah.
which I love. Same with
Mm-hmm.
me. Same with me. But I love setting expectations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just
Yeah.
love that. This is a what's included. And you did this at a high level because I know you have a couple different packages, but you're kind of
Mm-hmm.
saying, okay, here's what you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
I work with so many creatives, solopreneurs, who this is something where I think they need to spend more time, and I work with them on it. Is
Mm-hmm.
I know it's extra work. I know you're now putting down on paper what you're going to deliver,
Mm-hmm.
but it's put on your big boy pants. You're running a
Yep.
business.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean,
here's,
it's almost like we wanted to document like how we do build these things. It's why not just throw it in here? Be like, okay, these are all the tools that we tend to use, so let's just throw it in here. And the good thing about this too is this we change this up pretty often. You know, we change out the FAQs later. Like this is like a living document. Like for some reason, let's say we don't want to use the Elementor page builder or WordPress in the future, we could just axe that, and the document's the same. You know, pretty much.
yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. The core, the rest of it is, yes, very, it still applies. Yeah, if you change out Elementor for something else, you can boop, 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 go in, change
Yeah.
that out. But they
Hmm.
understand that. Now, and I will say this to some of your clients, this may all be gobbledygook,
Hmm.
right?
Oh yeah.
But I would say, just like your example of like going with the Google recommended, this just shows the thoughtfulness and the care that you've given to this stuff,
Hmm.
you know? And I think that matters a lot,
Oh yeah. Hmm.
you know? And around website design too, because there's so many different moving parts. For example, here
Yeah.
we talk about the technical piece, the hosting piece, you know, fonts, image, that kind of plugins.
Hmm.
But I think it also, someone who reads through this and is interested and they don't know what this is, it's their opportunity to ask you about it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah,
what's a
because you don't want
plugin?
to get to a point where you're at the contract level and there's all this fine print, and they were like, "Oh no, I thought you were going to build it on a different platform."
Yeah.
Well, no. I mean, before you even have a phone call with a person, they watch or they look at this document. So if they don't like our process, which is fine, we're not for everyone, then that's okay, you know. But at least up front, we're not wasting each other's time. We're not getting down to the contract level and then you don't like the fine print. So
Yeah.
this is kind of like a stripped down version of like what's in the contract, basically.
And I think that that's important because I will say this, a lot of the people who maybe don't have documented stuff like this, or don't go through this at some stage like this in the sales process,
Mm-hmm.
I think they maybe aren't doing it because they're like, oh, well, if I put that in there, I'm going to scare off someone.
That's a good
And
thing.
to me, it's
Yeah.
like better to scare them off than to
Yeah.
like attract the wrong
Oh,
person,
yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it took us a long time to realize that we're not for everybody, and no business should be, so generic that it just caters to every situation, every person. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
I mean, it works like that with tons of industries.
Absolutely, right? How I choose my dish soap brand, maybe,
Yeah.
so specific as to,
Or even
it's
like,
free and clear versus
yeah, like an
grease
airline.
cutting.
Like if, I don't know, I just thought of an airplane or something. Like you choose Spirit or Frontier if you want to go budget, but then you can go to the nicer ones like the Deltas, and it's a little
Yeah.
bit nicer. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I also say this, I know you send this out. I know also I want to put out a caveat there that the pricing may change. So I'm going to skip down over it, not to be like, oh, super secretive,
Yeah.
but listen, guys, if you're watching this, understand. Don't be like, hey, I watched
Yeah,
the
if you're watching that
video.
10 years later,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah, 10 years later with inflation where it's at. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah.
That's
Like
how $50
you
million.
said, and like this is not a contract bound video, but I want to talk through this, just outlining, hey, here's what's included, right? And subsequently, I love this next part too. Here's what we'll need from you. This is, I think, again, one of the more important pieces of any document, sales, contract of its type, is being very clear on what you need from the client,
Yeah, exactly.
right? Like
Yeah,
this isn't
yeah.
going to be just I need a website. I'm a plumber. All right, see you
Yeah.
later.
Yep.
You
That's
know?
how it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So many people think that that's what it is, but that's why I was like, you know what? I think this document can intimidate a lot of people who aren't ready for that, because they're like, holy crap, I got to be serious about getting the content and the images. Like these people aren't messing around. Like that's what the purpose of this was, in my opinion, is like, this is there to help not only us but to you too, because we don't want to, like I said, we don't want to go back and forth and be like, okay, where's the content? Are you going to have it this week? We're in a situation now where we figured out, hey, we don't really want to get started on the project unless you're really serious about it. So it's almost like a commitment to us that you're serious as much as we are.
And I would say this also, right? I think this is where it's always been a real sweet spot for my flagship coaching program, the Clarity Coaching Program, where if you see a document like this and you're like, I don't know the answers to this, to my voice, my look, my feel, my color, my customer, my how to talk about my services in a thoughtful, meaningful, impactful way. That's really what my flagship program is meant to fix. And this is, again, another reason why I even reached out to you, because they go together like peanut butter and jelly, right?
Yeah.
Where you come through my coaching program, you walk away with this customizable, actionable marketing and content plan. You can take that, bring it to someone like you.
Yeah, that's why it's perfect alignment. Yeah.
And you're going to say, oh my God, this makes our job so much easier, right?
Yeah.
All these questions we had about your brand, your services, your company, your customers, that's already made for you inside of like the coaching program that I do, the Clarity Coaching Program.
Yeah.
So there's kind of I always talk about like an order of operations, if you will, to these things, right?
Yeah.
And so that's really where, and then from there, right? Plan, website, right? We talked about, SEO, right? SEO, content, which is, intermixed. There's overlap between these, right? I'd say organic. And then that's when, like, okay, you can start to upgrade into potentially paid. And this is another great conversation I had. Again, if you didn't check it out, I'll link it up here, with Jill, who is my Google Ads, Google SEM guru. We talked about this, where it's like same type of thing, like trying to just jump into ads first without doing the organic work first. It's not going to work. It's not, or at least if it works, which is unlikely, it's not going to work nearly as well as if you go through the process, right? Trust the process.
Exactly.
Process and timeline, speaking of which, it's almost like I planned that, but I promise you I did.
It worked out.
There you go. Yeah. It's understanding how long is this going to take. It's just going to and if these things aren't met, which is what I love, the you and us. Listen, if we don't get from you this thing, okay, it's going to be delayed. There's going to be a delay, right? I think that's a good, transparent thing to share, right?
Yeah. Yep. That was a really that took a little while to kind of figure out.
I was gonna say, but I like it a lot, you know.
It took us a couple kind of years to figure out like our sweet spot, and that's kind of where it's at. Is like we kind of go our process kind of like week by week. But we are in a situation too where it's like we actually working somewhere now. He's like, I need it up in like 2-3 weeks. I was like, all right, cool. Do you have everything?
Yeah.
If you do, we can hit the ground running. Yeah, and he's pretty much ready to go. So we should be launching in 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah.
So let me ask you this: given that some of these things may take longer, I'm going to guess more often than not for the client than for you. But like, what's your average turnaround time on a website that, you know, everything goes according to plan, but understandably people maybe need a little more time to get this to us? Like, what's that
for
look
like vacation?
Yeah.
Usually we say average 4 to 6 weeks, but realistically probably the 4 weeks if everything.
Wow, that's still crazy impressive. That's great. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And we're talking about
there's a lot of variables, of course.
6 to 8 page sites. What we're talking about there. Okay.
Yeah, most people fall into like our 6 page package. I would say like eight out of 10. I would say probably fall into that, and the rest would be like, hey, we need a custom e-commerce or membership website. That's a little bit different, and those tend to take longer, of course. You know, if you have a bunch of products,
a lot more moving parts.
Yeah,
for sure.
Especially e-commerce. Yeah, e-commerce is a lot more moving parts. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you just talk about actual payment expectation, and you know, 2 different options. I love, by the way, the splitting up payment. The other thing I've seen, and for anyone watching this out there, particularly if you're taking on a big project like this, you know, there's a lot of different schools of thought on this. You know, one thing I've also seen is like almost like a 60-20-20 split. Right? 60 up front, 20% halfway, 20% when it's done. And I think that helps to maybe offset some of the, you know, initial ramp up to getting a website built. But I assume this is something, have you tinkered with your like payment structuring? Is, you know, that kind of thing at all?
Yeah, so the 2 payment one where it's 50% up front, 50% at the end, that's pretty much always been there since we started the business.
Sure.
It wasn't until actually COVID times we entered the 6-month payment because we really wanted to help small businesses that were struggling in the beginning of the pandemic. So we've stuck that in 2020, and we're going to probably continue to keep doing that. I would say the majority of customers still just want to do the 2 payment options, a little bit easier for them. But, you know, it's starting to get maybe more like 30-40% of people are starting to choose the 6-month payment. So, we've always kind of just had the 50-50. I'm trying to think.
And that's pretty standard. The 50-50, I think, is a very standard, common practice. So if you're out there looking for a website, don't be shocked if you see this again.
Yeah, I think I guess you could say I made a few mistakes when I was doing it part-time. I was doing 100% when I'm done. That doesn't work. So.
Oh, no. Oh, you poor bastard.
Yes.
Wow.
You got to learn the hard way.
That is, that's brutal. Yeah, that's tough. I think also if you do a split payment, you can also work in like, okay, this aspect of it is non-refundable to hedge a bet against those people who, if a project goes sideways.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and
Which
that does happen.
Happens.
Yeah, it happens once in a while. Maybe only once or twice. Maybe like once a year for us. Somebody just kind of abandons. I don't know what happens. They either the company goes under, or it could be a lot of different issues. Yeah.
Yep. Or to be fair, and it doesn't sound like you've ever had the situation like. This is where the nice shift from being corporate world to entrepreneur. If you're like, I can't with this client anymore, and you have in your agreement, in your clause that there's an out for both parties to be like, I have that
Yep.
in my agreements.
Yeah, we
Listen,
have
if
it in
I just
ours
had
where,
enough.
oh yeah, yeah. Well, we do the abandonment. So after, I forget what it is in our contract, but like at least a few weeks, if we don't hear from
Yeah.
you at all, you go to the back of the list, and then if we really don't hear back from you in months, well,
Yeah.
we have just given full refunds before because I was like, we don't
Mhm.
want to deal with it,
Yeah.
So we've done that a few times, but yeah, it's after a while the project is just no doesn't exist because our processes have changed or our pricing might have changed. So
Yep.
yeah.
And I think that is completely up to you as the business owner. If
Mhm.
you, and I get that too. I 100% get the, listen, I'd rather just give the refund because I just don't want to deal with it, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
totally up to you, right? If you're
Mhm.
watching this, whatever type of return, refund, non refund terms you want,
Mhm.
that's the beauty of being and owning your own business. You can do
Yeah.
that, right?
Exactly.
So I think whatever you're most comfortable with.
Mhm.
And then lastly, just an FAQ, right? Once
Mhm.
again, it would almost look like I planned this,
Mhm.
but I swear I'm just that good. How long does it take the website? How much does it cost? What's considered a page? Which is I like that one as an FAQ. Page
Yeah, we
versus
get
a
that one a lot.
post.
Like people don't, I mean, they're coming brand new sometimes to us. They don't know what that means because
Yeah.
we like to kind of price it per page. A 6-page website isn't going to cost the same as a 100-page website. And
No,
so we need to explain what a page is. Yeah.
totally. If it is, I'd love to work with you more. If a
Oh
six
yeah.
pager is working costing the same as 100,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have another conversation with you, similar to when you were charging 100% to when you were done. This is a
Yeah,
bad move.
exactly.
Bad
Bad
move.
practice. Yeah.
Mobile friendly platform, and you may be saying, man, but they already answered some of this, right?
Mhm.
But we're going through this in a little more detail. But I
Mhm.
still think you've been doing this long enough. You have it in here in the document once, but you need to call out some big things in an FAQ
Mhm.
section,
Yeah.
right? I also love the do you outsource work? I
Yeah.
think
Mhm.
if you're not going to work with Wiki and Mark on your WordPress, you better be asking this question too.
Yes. It is something, like I said, a lot of times people come to us because they found out their work was being outsourced. And we were very transparent. We put on our about page, you hear about it here. Even when we're on the phone call, usually with the initial like consultation call, I'll say we don't outsource. I like to make it very clear. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And I think it is more and more a common practice.
yeah, oh, yeah.
And listen, some things maybe can and are outsourced, understandably,
Mhm.
to like keep the cost down. So maybe
Yeah.
that's what's making it accessible to you. But if you remember, what did Mark say? Many people come to him because they
Mhm.
tried to go the super cheap route
Oh, yeah.
and it backfired on them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, the reason why I like to say that I like to stress that is because you're not only, going to get a nice website with us, but you're going to get us for like a month. Like you got us
Yeah.
for like a month of our time. You can have access to us. Whereas you work with other agencies, a lot of times the person who's literally building your website, you don't even know who it is. You don't ever communicate with
Yep.
them. That's important because there might be certain things that you have questions about, but you can't get an answer. Whereas when you work with someone like us, who is just the two of us, we don't outsource. You can hop on a Zoom or just email, hey, can you guys
Yeah.
just find out? That goes a long way. Like
That
people
is
don't.
worth so much. That is
Mhm.
worth the, I'll even say premium, if you will, cost of
Yeah.
your service.
Hmm.
You know,
Exactly.
the training videos that you also get, the
Hmm.
insight, the knowledge, the collaboration.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's what it's super, super important.
Hmm.
So, Mark, I just want to say thank you so much, man. This was
No
so much
problem.
fun. I mean, I told you kind of beginning, like I'm a huge process nerd. So, like,
Yeah.
I loved going through your process and sharing your story. But before we jump off, where can people go to learn more about Wiki Design, to contact you? Do any and all plugs? Fire away, my friend.
Yeah, the main one would be just our regular website. So it's wickydesign.com. So it's WICKY design.com. I have to spell that out because a lot of times people think it's Wiki, like Wikipedia. So I
Hey
spell
man,
it out.
listen, I deal with it too with Tricycle Creative. Don't, and I got a
Yeah,
dash in my URL. Don't even get me started. So I
yeah,
feel the pain for sure. But well, I'll put it down here. Don't
yeah.
worry. Yeah,
And
we'll get
down
them.
there, our YouTube channel, we have a link on the bottom. We have a little feed with our latest videos. We have the little icon down there. You can click on that to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And then we're actually just on LinkedIn. We no longer do Facebook and Instagram and all that. We kind of dumped that a few years ago. So we're just now focusing on YouTube and like LinkedIn.
Love it. Love it. And guys, I'll put links to all of Wicky Design stuff in the description below. So be sure to, hit any of those links. Again, I love their YouTube channel as a fellow marketing creator. I love what you're doing there. Your LinkedIn's super valuable. And yeah, if you're in the market for a website, go to their website, contact them. There was something.
And we'll send you that document. Yeah, if you contact us, we'll send you
Yeah.
that document.
Yeah, you'll get the document. You'll get the document
Yeah.
we went over. And then was there anything, if you've watched this video and you want to head over there, is there any extra, bones you can toss people that watch this video? And you don't have to say specifically, but maybe there's, if you watch this video, you hit up
Yeah.
Wicky Design, you mentioned Tricycle Creative, there's some,
Yeah.
maybe you guys can throw them some sort of discount or something like that.
Yeah. If you contact us, you tell us, you found us through here. Yeah, just email us at through our contact form or at info@wikidesign.com. And yeah, we have a special deal with you guys. So if you want to reach out, we can
Cool.
work out a deal for sure. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. And again, if you're out there and you are wanting, looking for a quality, functional, beautiful WordPress site, Wicky Design should be your one-stop shop.
Cool. Thank you so much.